Hello, friends. It's me, Cynthia, and Marty, and Azalea. She's behind the camera.
Hi.
And we are Green Girl Studios, and this is our Wednesday edition Magic Hour. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are pretty excited, and by we, I mean me. No one, I don't know that Marty's going to be excited when he hears. I'm gonna get it. I got a flex shaft. And this is from Vivor brand. It was $50 on Amazon. Yeah, which is a lot cheaper. I want to, I have like 5 Fordhams, but you know what? The hand piece, this thing here, which is, you can change it out. It's like, it has a little button you can change. So this part on a Fordham is like $120. So I was like, man, I don't want to spend that, but I really want to polish my stones and I really want to drill them. So I caved and I got this. And I was like, well, for $50, you know how sometimes when you justify, you're like, it's not that much. It's kind of a little tiny bit rich and wasteful. But I will say, this brand, I first found it's called Vivor, Vevor, Vivor. And we bought the tumbler because Kate had one, and Kate was like, "Check this out." And she turned that thing on, and that thing was like, it was spinning. How fast would you say that tumbler? So fast you couldn't even see it. It was that fast. And our tumbler is kind of like it's slow, and we use tumblers all the time to finish our beads. And I wanted one that was like super fast to finish up silver, like earring wires and small things that you don't want to sit around and you're ready for it in like 5 minutes. So Kate was making earrings. She was showing our friend Diane how to do it. She like did it in of course like 3 seconds. It was like a piece of wire and then used a jig to bend it in place and then polished up took the end off of the part you go on the pokey part that you put in your ear. She polished that up and then threw them in the tumbler, and they were ready in like 2 minutes. And then work hard. The tumbler will work hard, so it's not just like floppy. They're not like real bendable. And so I was pretty impressed. And we got one, and it's been good. We've had it probably. Would you say 2 years? Probably 2 years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years. And it's been no problem. We use it weekly. It's not as much as the one that Greg made, but we use it all the time. And it was only like $50. And I was like, I can't believe it's so good. Oh, hello, my friends. Hello, hello. I see La Vie Boheme. How you say that, daughter? Boheme. I'm not good at some of the Frenchy pronunciation. Okay. I see Kathy is joining us. Hello, Mary. Hello, hello, my friends. Marty is a cutie. We'll keep him up here for as long. He's you know what he looks like right now? He looks like that seal. You know that famous seal? I have a pillow of this seal. It's my couch pillow, but it's that big thick seal. Look how his neck is kind of like he's tucked in like a little loaf of bread.
Fat.
He's a good cat. He's not going to want to watch what's going to take place here in a moment. So I've got this hooked up. I have it on polishing, but we're going to turn it onto a rock grinder because we're going to do rocks. So this is the rock. I don't know what you call this except a rock bit. I don't know. Anyway, so just a little bit of clarification. I've been carving rocks for probably like 20 years or so. I have a little setup. I'm self-taught. Although I will say the majority of my education on rocks has come from other rock hounds from shows and when you go to just ding that. So this has a nice, what do you call this? The key?
I guess.
I can never remember what you call this. But anyway, you use it to take your bits out. This one's actually pretty quiet. The other one I have is not quiet. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with it. So I have these beads. This one's a really nice lapis. I carved this one. It was in part of, like, this was kind of like a little loaf of bread of lapis. And so sometimes you can buy it like this. This is, I think, the best way to buy it because I bought a bunch of like rough like this, not really knowing. There's a lot of things you don't know until you know. And the way you find out is you go and either take classes somewhere or you join a mineral society. I joined the Hendersonville County Mineral Society, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of knowledgeable people. So if you look up in your area, there's usually, I mean, every place I've ever lived, there was a mineral society, and you might have to drive a little bit, but it's worth it. You know, a lot of people will get together, and one of the fun things about it is everybody's kind of, Jillian says, I love how willing to share your knowledge you are. Thank you. I get that from the other folks because they're not afraid to share, you know, and that's a good thing because when I started out in the jewelry business, it was pretty secretive. Nobody wanted to tell you anything. It was like they don't want to share anything. It's kind of like how ceramicists are. I don't want to like be calling anybody out, but ceramicists, you know how they're real secretive with their glaze recipes because they are, and I would be too if I was a ceramicist and I came up. It's like if you're a baker and you have like this really good cookie recipe, you might not want to put it on the internet because you want something because there's so many ceramicists. You want to be unique in some way, you know. Karen, he is a regal cat. He's just patiently waiting for me to do something entertaining or something. Or maybe he likes to watch me work. But, you know. Anyway, I got this new Dremel. It's not a Dremel. This is a flex shaft. It's basically the same thing as a Dremel, but the difference is this part is lightweight with a big Dremel hand tool. Is it gets heavy on your hand, and after a while, that feeling is it gives you kind of hand fatigue, and you really can't go for that for very long. At least I can. I can hold that Dremel, especially if I'm going to drill stones. And you know what? I have this. This is not the way. So I have a stand that I have that's hooked up to my bench downstairs, but it's already nailed in place or screwed in place. So I have this set up. This is precarious. So this is a jewelry thing. I don't know if you can see. I got it at an estate sale, and it's holding this up because I don't want to have to unclamp the one that's on my bench. So this is working for now. And usually you have it on this thing. You have your bench sitting here, and this keeps it, high, so you're not fighting with it. And it has this thing with the sewing machine. And this one, it feels really lightweight. That's the only thing is the build quality on that feels pretty like light duty. But you know what? I have like 10 of those foot controller things that I've taken off of other. Maybe it just has a plug. I'm sure I can just plug in the other one. I mean, why wouldn't it work, right? But anyway, I'm going to show some of this, and let me flip the camera on. Let's get busy. Thank you all for joining me today. I am very excited. I have almost too many things to share. It's like I was telling Azalea, it's like sometimes it's hard to pick what you're going to talk about because there's too many things of interest. And Marty wants a little snack, my little darling. He's interested. I usually give him a little piece of cat chocolate. It actually kind of looks good. Maybe it's like matcha flavored or something, or like maybe it's like savory chocolate, which Azalea's making a face right now, like she was visualizing what that cat chocolate tastes like.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it in depth.
We were playing to raise the vibe in here a little bit. My technique for raising the vibe is to play Name That Tune of the person's best area of expertise, and Azalea's happens to be my high school playlist of Depeche Mode and The Cure
Mostly The Cure.
and not Motley Crue. She didn't like any of that headbanging. It's not that actually isn't headbanging. What that's called? What would you call that? Oh, I see. Terry. Hello, Connie is here. Hello, hello, my friends. Terry. And Morphing Designs. Hello, hello. And Shannon. He is so cute, isn't he? Yes, indeed. Connie. Hello, Connie. My friend, my neighbor of Asheville. We're not technically neighbors. Although the house next to me is for sale. Wouldn't that be nice if I had a bead friend that lived next door? It'd be like all my dreams coming true all at once. Hair bands. I loved me a hairband back in the day. I put on Queensryche. She got that lickety split. It was like one note, and she was like, Queensryche, silent lucidity. I was like, girl, you got that faster than I would have. And I grew up with it. I mean, technically, so did she.
My most expertise is in the Cure, of course.
She is the biggest Cure fan that's ever been or could be. In high school, this gal dressed up like on the daily as a little tiny cute Robert Smith. So cute. Oh, Morphing Design says, yep, Zelly, you must have conquered the printer. Yay, I got a notice a bit ago telling me my package has been accepted. Actually, no. We used Greg's printer, and that's how we figured that out. It's a black and white printer, and that's, I don't know, sometimes color. I don't know why. We just need to get another printer. So we have a couple, and sometimes they're finicky. Hey, honey, would you mind making me a kombucha beverage? My throat feels dry and itchy, possibly because I've been breathing in all this rock dust. I will say, if you get one of these little flex shaft, which I think it's good. I've only used it for the day. But if you get one, set it up where you have outdoor air and a fan that blows it away from you, and you use water, because otherwise there's like dust, because if you don't keep it wet, then you have dust. And you know what happens when you have dust? You breathe in that dust. You don't want to breathe in the dust. So put a mask on. You got to do something, because you'll get a headache otherwise, and you don't want to do that. Raven says, my printer is possessed. Listen, ours is too. It's not a good thing. All right, I'm going to flip this camera on. I'm going to get it ready. I'm going to show some things. Turn on the light first. I got it to do its thing. Oh, Connie says we were at Elijah Mine last Friday. Thank you, honey. I love that place. I found some, what do you call it, common opal. So fun.
Smooth green.
That's smooth green.
I like that. It's
All right.
color.
Oh, no, wait. Why am I upside down? All right. You see a little of that process. I don't know why is that the thing? Let's get in here. They changed some stuff. They put the zoom at the very bottom or something. I think I'm zoomed up. Sorry. I was just trying to get this where it's not zoomed super close.
You figured it out? It's right there.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they moved stuff around.
Yeah, they did. Oh, so let's look at what I did yesterday. So, was that yesterday?
Yeah.
I went over to the sorry, sometimes my brain is like, oh, is it switch? I'm not. You'd think I'd be like an expert at this by now after doing it for 5 years, but apparently my hands look right. Actually, it's switched. Is it switched?
It could be mirrored.
Oh, how do I take off mirroring?
It could be here.
Oh, there you go. Thanks.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was on there.
It did an update, so it's
put stuff back to default settings sometimes.
Okay, little daughter. Oh, I'm gonna show it first. So I cut these
The mute
up.
button is right here.
Where?
We might have to mute.
Okay, get ready. We might have to mute. So here's this. This is what I bought. I don't know how long ago, a long time ago. So this was part of the same thing. A lot of times you can buy stones in this configuration where it's like a little loaf of bread. And then I sliced it into thirds so I can make beads. Now, just today, I rounded off this corner, or the corners on this hole. You can see, I don't know, can you see that? This side, you see, not done. And this side is done. And I also did this one. Nice. Okay, so this is what I got at Elijah Mountain Mine. All this. Let me spray it and show it. Look at the difference when you spray it when they're wet. Isn't that cool? Gives you a better idea of the colors. Isn't that pretty? All that, look at all that cheddar. Although the colors, when I'm looking at it on my screen, they're darker. Like this is a more purpley color, and on the screen it's more blue. So it seems like it's more on the blue side. This is what I found at that Elijah gem mine. So it's pretty cool. And I've been cutting what I found. So although I did get this is from my new friend that I met at the gem club. And I don't know if you guys could guess what this is, but I could not guess what this is. Let me get in there close. So let's see if anyone knows. I cut this yesterday, and this was given to me by my new friend Karen. And maybe if you followed last week, this is the same person that was like, don't try to make it like your full-time job kind of advice. And at the time, I kind of got offended. You know, I was like, I kind of got a little like, don't tell me what to do type behavior, you know, like, but I mean, I didn't say that. It was more like, you know, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to be dissuaded. But what I should have said is, it's not, for me, I don't do that. It's more of a labor of love, I guess. So anyway, if anyone wants to guess, Azalea, do you know? Or did I already tell you?
You told me.
Did I tell
Wouldn't
you?
be fair if I guessed now because I
Okay,
know what the answer
nobody
is.
else, Azalea, don't guess. I see a word, kambaba, but I don't know what that word means. I'm not familiar with that. But this is a piece of petrified wood. Can you believe that? This was in a piece that was from, I sliced this. I learned how to use the saw, and this saw used oil, if you can believe it. Maybe this is how it went. And I gave the other piece to my friend Jamie. She came in with me, and we had our brains filled up. It's kind of weird. You know, that's the same stone. I don't remember how the configuration went, but it was something like this. And there it is. It was like that. But it feels a little darker here. I had this part was more teal. It was a really pretty stone. And I cut on that same day. I learned to cut. This is some kind of picture jasper. It's really pretty. And Karen found these samples. She's kind of a no holds barred, like, firecracker of a lady. She's like, I tipped a horse back and got thrown 30 feet. And I was like, what were you doing on the horse? She was like, oh, I was a jockey for 20 years or 30 years or however many. And I was like, you were a jockey? And she has a kind of a powerful sort of, she's small but powerful. Lifting all these stones. I was pretty impressed. But, you know, one of the things that, you know, sometimes you have a kind of a negative impression of a person.
First
and then
impressions.
Then you get to know them a little bit. And she was sharing more of her background. She was like, I got started in beads like everybody does. And I was like, same. She's like, then I went the metalsmith route and learned to set stones. And she became an award-winning bolo. I don't know if y'all know what that's like, kind of like a tie. I'm not really. I mean, I lived in New Mexico, but I've never had a bolo of my own. It's kind of like a tie type situation. Anyway, she gave me all these samples to cut, and she was telling a story how she won first prize at this show and then sold the piece for $3,000. It was like a silver, and she cut the piece, the rocks and everything. And then she was like, I made probably $1 an hour for as much labor as it took. And that's when I realized what she was trying to tell me was like, there's more hours than you will be paid for. And then I understood. I was like, I see. Because sometimes you don't, and the context is everything, So anyway, I cut these. This was one piece. And look how thin they are. I was pretty impressed with myself. They're not all even, unfortunately. And they're all a little bit different depths. But these can be made into caps. So it's pretty neat. And here's another piece of that. This is another piece of that picture jasper. And this comes from Oregon. Not pretty, that blue there. It's kind of like this piece here. These are some of the stones I cut. So what I thought about doing tonight, and then I polished a little more on this. This is a pretty cool thing. I don't know what it is about when you take a stone from rough. This is rough labradorite right here. I don't know if you can see sometimes you can see some of that shine. Oh, I see Donna's here. Donna, hello, Donna. Oh, hello, Melanie. Tina, hello. But when you shine it, I feel like it automatically, even though it brings out more of the color, why do I like and prefer the more matte finish? I don't know. I like it both. I don't know how y'all feel. But I shaped this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But if you look, like there's so much. It's so pretty, I mean, I don't know. It looks so mysterious to me. It's so glittery. I could look at it all day long. Glad that didn't bright. All right, let's mute this. So anyway, I have this here, and wow, it looks really bright on the screen. It's more a soft blue with my eyes, but I'm going to show you. It has some divots. Let's see if you can see them. The kind of machine that I was working on.
Sorry, I can close the door.
Yeah, we're right next to, like down at the bottom of the hill is 74, so it's kind of, sometimes they're going to be really loud. But here, let's move some of this out of the way. Oh, hello, Abby. I want to cut this, but I'm going to wait. This is, and in this light, you can't really see it, but this is the water clear or rose water quartz that I was talking about. This is a normal, let's see if you can see the difference. This is like a lower grade of pink quartz, rose quartz. This is a higher quality. This is what they call the rose water because you get the pink tinge. I don't know. And with my eyes right now that I'm looking at it, it's more pink in my light than this. This is a little, yes, it's about the same. There's a little more pink that I'm seeing. And says eye protection. And I couldn't even see it to begin, so I'd have to put the the eye protection on. But this is the difference. So this is this piece of stone was more expensive than this. So it's not particularly, even though this is common, sometimes the higher grade can go for a lot of money. Like we at one point had this rose quartz that was cut in what's called a millennium cut, and each bead was like $50. No exaggeration. Super beautiful, but it's one of those things that you just have to kind of decide, if you're gonna like this kind of hobby. I would agree with Karen. It would be really hard for me to sell these for the hours that I put in, because it takes a lot of time, but it's a fun hobby. Like finding a stone, like going to a gem mine and finding things, it's really, really fun. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to say this And I don't know if we can put anything on top of it, but there's going to be a moment where I'm going to have to mute this because it makes a kind of a, it's not terrible, not as terrible as I thought it was going to be, but
we could always see what this music is about.
Zoe's going to try and put some music on
There's
top of it.
chill.
But what I'm going to do is I'm
Lo-fi.
going to do one side of this bead so you can see, like this side is what I'm going to work on right here. I'm going to bevel it out so it's not so sharp. Let's begin. I have my eye protection on.
All right, tell me when you're ready for me to mute
Okay,
it.
let's just let them hear it first so
Okay.
that they can hear what it's like and see if it's unbearable to their eardrums as well. I gotta adjust this. It's like kind of tangled with all these cords underneath. Okay, let me do this. Oh, Kathy says, I can see the difference. Yeah. And I see another comment that says, I prefer the matte finish also. I feel like it just looks, I don't know, it has an ancient look. Okay, so I'm putting my foot on this sewing machine pedal underneath. Not too bad, right? And you can adjust it. The more expensive machines will be more powerful. You have a stronger motor. So I'm getting it wet. And you don't want it to be dry. As soon as it's dry, your stone can heat up and crack. So you want to keep it moving.
It's not too much. It's not really a grating sound.
It's not too bad. What do you guys think? Is it horrendous? You got to go little by little. Gently. Like this is a rock tip. They have metal ones. I bought a set of diamond. I guess is a burr. That word just popped into my head.
Connie says it sounds fine. I guess you don't have to worry about it after all.
Oh, good. But this is, it's a good way to not have a sharp bead hole. Okay, let's see if y'all can see it good. And I was actually looking through my close vision glasses at the screen going, why is it out of focus? Because it's not the right, I don't have my distance glasses on. Can you see the difference of that beveling? All right, let's do another one. And I could keep going, but you know what you don't want to do? You don't want to keep taking so much away that you end up having to plug the hole because you have a massive bead hole. That's actually a pretty big bead hole. I like a big bead hole, y'all. All right. This one could be done. And this one, I was a little scared it was going to crack because, it can crack. But you know what? Maybe we'll do one right here. Let's try it. I'm going to smooth this out. Actually, you know what I was doing earlier? Because the grinding wheel that I was using has only the surface is a curve. It's like trying to use, it's like kind of like this situation. So you're using this thing. Imagine this thing is spinning really fast. This is my water bottle. But it's still rounded. So you're shaping it. This is spinning really fast. Just picture it. And then what you do is you hold the stone like this. And you can do these maneuvers. The only thing you can't do is you can't go convex. You know what I mean? Like you can't get in there and make a rounded kind of shape. You can only do like this. Like that. That's how I'll do it. And then, when I'm doing it, my fingernails get buffed down to practically nothing if I'm not careful. So it's a danger. Last week I was like, man, oh man, I nearly I nearly did it till it was scary. So when you're doing it this way, you can shape it, but you can only go so far. I have one that's like a spinning plate, and the plate's like this wide, and you can do the same thing, but it's flat. You're not getting in here where it's like this shape. So the shape right in here. I don't know if you can see it. Right in here. See that divot? I don't love that. And I don't love this side. This side is, it had pits, like really deep pits. This piece was like this. This is the same material. Who would think that inside it was this beautiful color? Natural. Isn't that wonderful? Aren't stones just amazing? Like, I look at this one like this was made in the earth. It always blows my doors off thinking about that. All right, let's see what we can do about some of these kind of, I might crack it, but that's the danger, you never know what's going to happen. Melanie says, you need Kevlar finger guards. Well, listen, I didn't even know that was a thing, Melanie. I actually, that would be nice. And I could just, what if it were like one of those, those fingertips that kids wear? Remember those, Azalea?
Yes. I loved them, but I kept breaking them.
They're like fingernails, but they stick on the top of your finger or the tip of your finger.
Which one of your friends would come over and I kept asking her to bring them for me?
Georgie.
They'd be like, where's my fingernail fix? Give me some of those.
Mm-hmm.
In the red color.
She likes them red. When it starts to get powdery, you know that you're not supposed to do that. Because if it's powdery, that means you're going to breathe it. So you want to keep it at mud. As soon as I see it getting a little bit dusty, I'm like, nope, time to dip.
That cat don't even mind.
Earlier he minded. He didn't like it at all. Okay.
Mm.
All right. Oops. Did you see me just dip that? I don't know why I did that. Because it made it splash the water all over my sketchbook. The danger with this is going too fast and heating up your stone and then causing a crack because you get impatient. The other thing is if you dip this, it splashes water on everything across from you. Yeah, he knows there's going to be a reward. He's a good boy. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so you can see it's a little bit smoother. And that didn't take too awfully long. Not too bad. I kind of want to put a hole right here. Let me see if I can do that. But you know what I'll do is I'll try to make a divot. This I thought for sure would crack because I had this agate. And look what happened to the top here. See that? I might be able to stabilize it. I learned about stabilization. And, also from Karen. And I told Zoe today, I said, sometimes, you make first impressions about a person. Maybe you don't align politically or any other way. The only thing you have in common is rocks. But sometimes you get to know a person and then you find out you have a lot more in common than you previously thought. And then you become friends. Isn't that wild? So crazy. Anyway, this one cracked right up here, and I'm going to learn how to stabilize that. That's going to be my next thing I'm going to learn. Morphing Design says, do you get into a Zen mode when you do this, when not being online? That I would tell you 100%. This is probably one of the most relaxing parts of my week is when I go into gym club. I look forward to it. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I really want to get my own setup with the, look how the water is so cloudy because that's full of the rock dust. All right, I'm going to try and make a divot and get my hair out of the way. Okay. The only thing is that this is kind of hard to finish. I would have a really tough time getting this to a super, super high polish like this because these are what I have right now as far as polishing. Like these little things here, and this is like a little mini buffing wheel. You can use those buffing wheels, but they're not going to get it. Like I tried it earlier, and I tried buffing this to see how far I could take it. And you know what I'm going to probably do? I don't know if any of you are remembering. Y'all remember Africa John or Pat Jordan? Those two guys that used to do hand-carved stones. They're pretty much the only people I knew that were making hand-carved stones. But they used a tumbler, and they would just tumble it when they got it to a certain point, and they would just leave them in the tumbler for like a week. And they would come out with a really beautiful, soft finish. And Africa John would say, there's going to be a birthing today at 3. And everybody would show up at the show around 3 and wait for him to open the tumbler. And it was like a big deal. It was pretty fun, actually. Because it was a surprise to him, too. Sometimes, you'd have a rock and then it would crack. So, okay, I'm going to try and make a divot for the hole. We'll see how good that looks. This probably wouldn't work that great with something like sapphire or ruby, because those would be like trying to do this with like hardened steel or something really hard. This is blue lace agate, and it's probably a 7. So a little bit harder than maybe, I don't know, like I have drill bits, but what I'm doing is I'm making a little divot before I drill so my drill bit doesn't skitter. Oops. I skittered that a little bit. Okay. Michelle says, how old is Marty? Has he been with you since he was a kitten? Yes. We, now listen, y'all, before anyone says anything, I've had people send me some emails about getting a cat from a breeder, but I was following Marty's parents on Instagram for probably 7 years, and I messaged them, his parents and his owner, not I don't know how to describe that. But I was like, if your cat ever has a litter, I want in. I don't care how long I have to wait. And they were like, okay. And 7 years later, I get a message in my Instagram that said the cat's name was PC. I know it's a weird name. And they said PC just fathered a litter of kittens. And there are 7, or I don't actually remember how many kittens. And they were like, here are the 2 that are available. And Marty had a little donkey stripe on his head. And I was like, Azalea, which one? There were 2 of them. And we picked Marty. And it was funny because they're like, so you need to come up with a name, but the name needs to start with an M. And I was like, how fortuitous, because in my mind, I already named him Marty. So he's from the Ukraine.
Why did they say an M name?
Because that was just what they were like. We have this. There's you're supposed to for their paperwork. They wanted to name it an M name.
Huh.
Yeah, when I asked her about it, I was like, why is it an M name? She was like, that's just how we do our paperwork because we already have. And I was like, so you had that many kittens? And she's like, no, that's just where we are on that. I was like, all right, well, interesting. But I had to wait a long time. And we had to go down to Atlanta to pick him up. And I know that people are going to say to me, hey, you know what, Cynthia, there are many homeless cats that are looking for a home. And I would say, you know what, I have been a provider of a home for many of those cats all my life. And I was like, ever since I was like 16 years old, I wanted a British short hair. The cat from Alice in Wonderland, the Cheshire Cat, was always my dream. And I finally had the opportunity. And so I went ahead and did it. And I never regretted it for a second. He's the love of our lives, all our lives. Right, Azalea? You can't live without him. Okay, now I have this little spot here. You can see it. So y'all know now when they're talking, when my buddy Karen is saying, hey, don't quit your day job. How long have I been on here? Let's see, 40 some minutes. So if you were to try and sell that, blue lace agate is not particularly valuable. I like it. So, and I want to do this, but you couldn't really, how much could you sell something like that for? I don't know. I think that was her point, was that, you can't compete with how there's like places in China and India where they have big machines and all the tools and the cheap labor. Okay, so this is this one's already been, I've used it, but I don't know if you can see in there. There's it's hollow. And if you were to force it, which I did one of these, I think it was, and I kept it so I could show you. I blew out the end of it and it actually looked like a mushroom. And I was like, what did I, yeah, here it is. Look at how a rock did that. You see how that's kind of ballooned, or it's kind of mushroomed out, like I was really pushing. And the metal did this before it went through the hole, or before it went through. Like, talk about a hard stone. It wasn't even a corundum. It was this. This agate did that. Isn't that shocking? I don't know what this is. It's some kind of jelly-like agate. Check that out. It was so weird. I really like it, but this is like the cheapest, like the cheapest stone. but I think it's really beautiful. And that took me like 20 minutes. It's really soft, so it was really easy to do that. Oh, Wendy's joining us. Hello, hello, Wendy. All right, now this, when you're drilling, you have to do the same thing. It's the same. I'm going to, now, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm resting my hand because you don't want your arms floating in the air when you're doing this. You want to be supported. So I'm going to drill on this. I might not make it through, and it might be really annoying to watch for like solid 10 minutes. So what I thought I'd do is I'd do a little of this drilling, and then I would dip the remainder of my lucky dip. I had a few customers message about it, so I was going to do that so that they could watch it. I have 7 left, so the 3 people that asked for it, they can watch. All right, so I'm going to start this. And usually what I do when I'm drilling, I have a piece of wood. I don't see a piece of wood, so I'm gonna hold it and hope that let's see, maybe I can just use something over here that's stable. I'm just gonna use that to brace it. I can feel that little divot. All right, let me just go easy. And hopefully I'll splash the heck out of everything. I'm gonna try and make it where you can see it. Azoria, can you hit it so that the zoom is a little bit more on this? Okay, let's see how far I got. You can see there's the little hole that started. Can you see that? It's begun. How old is Marty Azalea? It's like 5.
He's like 5 or I think he's 6.
I'm working from the opposite side now.
That sounds pretty bad.
Sorry. We'll see if I start losing people. All right, let's see. Wouldn't that be horrendous if I did this and I was like way off? I just realized, I'm like, what if I did this and I was really way off? But I'm not, because I can kind of see it. But just for a little bit of, just so y'all can see, I probably have another 10 minutes of drilling. So I'm not going to get through that. Look how far. And that's very thin. Look, it's like, would you say, what would you say, that 3 millimeters thick? And so that would take a minute to get through there. A lot of times they will say at the gem club, they said, hey, start with a smaller drill bit before you go to this size. But, me being me, I want to have the nice big hole. So
She wants a big hole now.
I do want the big hole. So anyway, that is that process. I'm not going to do any more of it because I want to show a little bit of something else, and not that I don't want to listen to that. And I'm getting a little bit of, I can see some dust over here, meaning I'm not quite doing enough of the dipping. All right, let me see what I'm doing here. I'm going to move this party along. All right, this is a piece of pyrite. I tried cutting it. It made mud. It did not look good, just in case you're wondering. It was horrendous. And here's another piece of it. Look at this. Isn't that cool? But little pieces come off of it. Because they're like little, I don't know, it's like a little conglomerate made into a stone. Okay, I'm going to clear some of the deck here. All my treasures, I'm particularly happy with how that came out now. Even though that looks a little unfinished there, maybe I can polish it. And I did take this cottony one here and use it to go in like this, and it polished up the edge, and it looked a lot better. On this side I did it, not this one. I did one before I went live to see that it worked before I started talking. You want to test it, because what if it's super hard? And then you're going to be standing there with your teeth in your mouth. No one wants that. Okay, so I have, where's that paper towel? Oh, here. I have a little silicone pad under here. Sorry, Zoe, I got this thing completely spattered with rock dust. Look at my sketch buds. This is going to be a powder, so what I'm going to do is wipe it, because otherwise, if you let it just dry and you don't wipe it, then what's going to happen is when it does dry, it becomes powder, and then you'll be breathing it. So you want to wipe it up. So that's why you want to have this outside. This whole shebang should be done where you have good ventilation. All right, can you pass me some tins? So we had on Sunday one of our fanciest lucky dips. This is what I have left. And look how pretty this is. This is, check this out. There's sunstone, there's opal, there's yellow opal. There is, these are carved.
I can't get around with it, so I'm not going to.
Perfect. Thank you, honey.
There's big tins too if you need those. Here's this. That might be more useful right now.
Well, I'm just going to do 6, 7 of them. I had 7 left.
Somebody wants 2 in 1.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. Where's that other bowl? Because this is hard to scoop from this.
All the clattering
chicken
of whenever
snap.
we have to do anything.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of stuff. I'll pour it. So we did this on Sunday. This is the last part of it. Most of our lucky dips have been selling pretty well. And let me tell it again. I can only do this because a lot of these stones, probably about half, are from my personal collection that has already been paid for, and through the making and selling of jewelry that I made a long time ago. Because usually what happens is I'll make a necklace, maybe make a few pairs of earrings, maybe use this much of a strand, And then the rest goes into my collection. So, and then I added to it. So what I did was I had stuff already from previous jewelry making endeavors, and then I went and purchased at a show. I found pink chalcedony, it's extra juicy, and a lot of ruby. There's a lot of ruby in here. Look, this is a ruby, high quality. So on Sunday, I showed chopping a necklace that was part of I was going to keep it, as I said, hey, you've already got one. You don't need two. I actually just could do this all day long, and that's just natural. Are you totally out of the healer's dip? Yes, that one's gone. I scraped that one down to the last. There's no more of that one. Where's my scooper? My scooper duper. That one was a particularly good one because I'd been collecting those stones for a minute, and like I don't want to use the word hoarding because that has kind of a negative connotation, but I did not want to share. So is that more or less positive? I just wanted to keep it. That's kind of a little tiny bit greedy. It's a little bit greedy. So I'm overfilling, and then what I'm doing is doing this so that the lid will fit. So this is one.
I think you could drop that link.
Carolyn says, my healing mala bead scoop arrived this week. Thank you, Azalea, for sending it out while dealing with printer issues. Awesome.
Slay.
Oh, Lavia Boheme says that one is also a goodie. This is a good one. So if you think about it, I don't know about y'all. Have you ever bought $150 strand of beads? Because I have, very easily, without any kind of hesitation. Maybe some hesitation. But what I did with this is I put a lot of the stones that I thought were kind of pricey for lot sales, where I have to break this strand up, but the strand was already cost me, my cost was somewhere in the region of like $100 or $90 or whatever. And I thought, man, that's going to be hard to flip. So I made earrings, and I had half a strand left. And so after years of doing this, I now have a big collection of small amounts of beads. So this is like the perfect way to use these. So look at all these rubies in here. So what we're doing, I just scooped this one. Look, lapis, beautiful. Opal in there. And what else am I talking about here? So this is the last of this. If I do it again, I just start over. Some of these beads, you can't get them anymore. Like these are from Bead and Button circa 2012. Got these from Bead Direct. And this is the only one that has a coating. But this is that fuming that they do on glass beads. Gotta make these close because otherwise it's a nightmare. That's some top quality sunstone right there. Really beautiful stuff. Oh, ametrine, sapphire. That's sapphire in there. So when I broke it up, I broke up a strand of sapphires to go in there. Rubies. This is the necklace that I kept. Get it. Come on now. Release. So there's a strand of this in there. These are rubies and sapphires. So I put one, this is mine, but the other one that I was keeping, except for, one section, that's also in this one. So this is mine that I kept. I think I can do I'm hoping I need to do 6 or 7 out of this is left, I'm estimating.
Mm-hmm.
I need some small ones. So what you do for this is you go ahead and get it on the internet through that link Azalea just sent. And then what we'll do is, look at that hand carved ruby right there. And then look at this juicy one right there. That's an opal. Oh, Carolyn says, I may need to post some of the mala healing beads for identification from the rock experts. Sure, I can tell you what's in there. Azalea and I went through and checked what we had. Peridot, chrome dioxide. Oh, andalusite right there. There's another hand carved. But if you think about it, this is actually probably one of the best deals, because when are you ever going to get that many beads for $150? I mean, seriously. When we were calculating this should have been a lot more. When we weighed it, it came out to 66 grams. So even at like the normal cost of
$5 a gram would have been $300 and something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to be like, I'm greedy.
Well, that's, a lot of people do that though.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. See, look at all that shadow. Chrome dioxide is the green right there. And this is the water clear that I was talking about. That pink quartz, that is a very high quality. That's the difference. You can see the difference. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, this sapphire. Little yellow sapphire. There's little blue ones in there left. Let's see if I can make it. Right now I'm at, I might not have enough Azalea. We'll see. Let me see. We'll just have to see.
I hate that story.
I know, but I think I can do it. Let me see. We're at 3. Here's 4. Rubies. Oh, and that's sunstone. No, I just need 2 more, right?
How many do you have?
4.
There should be
Well, y'all, I like to overfill, so that's why sometimes my numbers are a tiny bit off. Oh, thanks, Wendy, for showing up for us. We appreciate you.
You should have 7 to do.
I have 5 right there, so should be fine.
It looks like we have to take some off again.
No, I said I have 5 sitting here.
Oh, okay.
Turquoise. Why am I looking at this and actually drawing a blank? That's called a ruby, Thornton. I just sat there looking at that. What the heck?
We're all a little bit smooth brain today.
Oh my gosh, I'm sitting here. Look, what's the redstone right in the center? So let's see, 2, 4, 6. I just need to come with 1 more. Perfect. I had plenty. Yay. Look, Azalea.
Stressing me out.
No, don't be stressed out. Yeah, this strand of opal here, this was a very expensive strand. This is a beautiful white opal. Hey, you know what I didn't know? I learned about that opals, you have to go to people, and I knew that you had to go to like really good people, because I don't like to buy opals from just anyone. But they need to be dried for 6 months before they can be doctored up and cut, because otherwise they are porous still, and you don't want them to be porous, because I'll show you. This is pretty cool. Let me show it. Where'd it go? Here it is. I cut this at Kate's Oh yeah, you could do. Carolyn says Kate made a 3-strand float gemstone necklace today on her live. The mala healing mix would look pretty as a float on Softflex. Oh yeah. Um, Mine, I love it. I haven't put the clasp on yet because I've been waffling about what clasp to put on. So this turns out to be a what you call a specimen opal because when I bought it, I didn't realize it hadn't been dried. But look at that color. When this dries, though, it turns completely white. Here's another piece. I didn't want to throw it away. It came off. They call this the host rock, and it's like, I guess they call it iron. Come on out of here. Get out of here. Stop hiding from me. So it's a little piece of the black opal. I saved it because I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a little, just like there's a little shimmer. Anyway, I removed all the black, which was this, and this piece just fell off the bottom, came off, popped off like that. Originally, I was going to make a ring, but as soon as it dries out, it turns completely white, and you only get a little tiny bit of this flash. So what I think I'm going to do is either make a glass capsule or find a glass capsule. We've got glass blowing equipment downstairs, and we may just blow it out ourselves. I mean, I have a bunch of boro tubing I could use, but I'm not super confident with it. I tend to shatter them. I don't know. I need to practice. But anyway, this will probably have to always be in water. So there's a lot of things about stones that you just don't know until you figure it out. You know, like this, I didn't know that I couldn't just use it, that it was when they had mineral or specimen grade, they literally meant it's a specimen and not for jewelry use. So this has to stay wet. You can already see from drying in my hand that it's a little on the, starting to get a little cloudy on the edges. See that? It's already, it's like it's begun. But I love it anyway, so I want to make something that I can put in there instead of this like old bag that, I mean, it's not ideal, but for now, it's keeping it watertight. So until I come up with a project, I'll keep it here. And you don't leave these in the sun or wherever they could, it's kind of like a plant, but reverse. Like you keep it wet and you keep it out of the sun. Opposite of a plant, but you know, beautiful in its own way. All right, let's see what else we're doing. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Oh, so you know what that means? That means this is for Cynthia, isn't it? Isn't that what that means?
Yeah.
Because I was like, no, go make another one. So anyway, we had 7 left, and I have a little tiny bit, probably 2 more scoops out of there. So if you're watching and I run out, I probably have 2 more. I'm gonna move that out of the way. Oh, what else am I doing? All right, so these are the remainder. Check it out. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, if you like someone and you want to get them something nice and they're your good friend, this would be what I would call like the ultimate collection. There's rubies in there, tourmaline, all the good stuff. The good stuff, you know. So anyway, if you want one of that. Shannon says, I was reading about opals earlier today in a gemstone book. I love them. Shannon, you and me are the same. I am obsessed. But yeah, this collection is pretty good. These are some of my favorite stones that I've used over the years. There's a good chance you'll get a lot of the, I used Andalusite. It's one of my favorites. You know, you can barely find that anymore. I find that some of the stones go in and out of fashion. And I told my friend that at the gem club, and they were like, and she's kind of abrupt. She goes, I'm gonna imitate it a little bit. She doesn't watch, so it's okay. She goes, fashion? What fashion? She goes, you mean the mind closing? And she's kind of got a little bit of a smoker's voice, like she could be on The Simpsons a little bit. She's a character. It's full of characters. And she's right. The mind's closed. You can't get it anymore. There's so many stones like that. So yeah, this is a particularly good one for those slices. Look, I'm going to dump it out so you can see how much is in there. What do I have to dump? Oh, You mean this whole collection of bowls? A ton of bowls sitting there stacked up. Oh, Wendy said, I would cry if I broke that opal. Listen, I broke plenty of opals in my day. So many.
Did you cry?
No, I just put them back in. I've broken a bunch of them inadvertently because they dried out and I didn't know. This is a cool bowl. I got this in New York City a long time ago when I went to visit Andrew and Sheila when they lived in Brooklyn. Yeah, seriously. You ever take off a strand of beads and then you're like, oh my gosh, look how many I got. It fills up like this much. If I took this off the strand, this would be like this much. It'd be like the teeniest little pile. Look at all that cheddar in this bowl. Yeah, you could make a lot of stuff with that. Let's be real. Make so much stuff. I mean, how many earrings could you make with that? A lot. That's the answer. There's rubies right there. Ruby, ruby, ruby. Beautifully cut citrine. Just saw it, just sitting there. All right, I'm going to scoop that back in the bowl. That's a sapphire right there. You can tell by the hard sparkle. Now that I know exactly what that means, because when you're trying to get a shine on some of these other, like faceting, I'm also trying to take a faceting thing. I'm on the wait list for the faceting class. But, department, where's that piece I was going to show? I don't have anything faceted. No, I do. Well, I started to try and facet this. Where's the edge of it? One edge. So on something like this is kind of not that hard, but if you're trying to facet, it's not going to be on a softer stone. You get a little bit of a softer little, your facets aren't as sharp and they're more of a soft sparkle. A hard sparkle is like this, because this is a ruby, and the rubies, look at that glint. They're hard. They're really hard to carve. They take a lot of patience. This is also one. It's a ruby slice. It's a nice big hole. You could put that on a treasure necklace. A lot of these could be on a treasure necklace. So anyway, there's a lot of goodies in here. You guys are going to love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite blends of late. There's yellow opal. And that butterscotch colored opal, that is like this. I bought this stuff here. These are also, I'm soaking them. Look at, I broke one of them. See, you can see the piece that broke right there. But look at the color of this. Isn't that cool? It's called like butterscotch because of that neat brown. Sometimes you'll see them in like yellow. I love all colors. I particularly love black opal. It's my favorite. Well, let's be real, I like all opal. Has a nice shine to it. I'm going to round off the edges, but you know, and here's another thing I didn't know. When you're buying, if you buy like a piece like this, they weigh it, and it's usually like $2 to $5 a gram. And you know, I think that's when, you know, you're just buying it because it's beautiful. You know, if you cut it, you lose 50% of the stone. And what that means is like you have to chop here, you have to chop here. You have to chop it till you get like a little manageable piece, because all this stuff here, if you don't chop it, you're grinding down your diamond blades, which I did not realize until basically yesterday. So that was kind of eye-opening. They're like, well, you have to learn to cut, because if you just, I was like, why not just grind off the edges and use your grinding wheel? And they're like, well, because your grinding wheel is the most expensive part of your part of the equipment, because each one's like $100. And the cutter is $30. So you want to use your cutter to take off your corners and things that'll make it. If you're trying to get to this shape, you have to remove all of the pieces that are all the corners and pokey parts. You have to remove all that, so you don't actually get the weight that you're using. Especially, you know, when you saw me carving, you take off a lot. So to get this, look at the shape of this. Where'd it go? all this I had to grind off. I didn't realize I could cut it off, but you can see like all that is waste. And so now that I know that, I will go to the cutter and cut it off, and then I can use the rest of it and try and grind it and make pigment. You can use, this is lapis, so you can make pigment out of it. You could also use sodalite, which is, I thought this might be, but I think now that I look at it, I think it is also a piece of lapis. But when you're using it, like I make pigments and for watercolor, if you grind it too hard and you try to go over and over and over it to make it fine, sometimes if you do it too much, it can actually turn this color, and that's called bruising. I had no idea that you could bruise a stone, but what do you know? It's a thing, I guess. I learned the hard way. My paint turned out grayish. It did not have this, it used to be in Renaissance times, if you wanted to use lapis, it was reserved for only painting like the Virgin Mary, so, because it was expensive. And it was a very time-consuming and tedious process to make lapis paint. So anyway, there's a little tidbit for you on medieval style painting. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Where'd that cat go? Oh, he's still sitting there. Azalea, stop Peanut from getting in that bowl.
You're gonna get in a bowl, B.
She might. You never know. That cat's goofy.
Stop crying. Crying and loud. Screaming.
All right, where is that? All right, little daughter, you want to turn that for me? Shifted it. Baby, are you ready for your treat, baby? Honey, you ready? Shh. Peanut says, I'm ready. Peanut doesn't have a very good work ethic.
She's just sitting in front of me crying and looking into my eyes. What is it that you're
She wants
talking
you to
about?
pet her.
I don't want to pick her up right now. She's being weird. She's being freaky.
Honey. He's really cleaning it. It's a good cat. You worked hard today, Marty. Really watched my progress. Can I have a head bump? That was an open no. Denied. Bonnie says, did Marty get his name from the movie Back to the Future? Bonnie, do you know me? The answer is yes. That's exactly. I was going to make him a little life vest. She's trying to get into that bowl. Can you move that bowl? Look at her. She's going for it.
There's something wrong with that cat.
All right, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us and watching my journey with minerals and stones. It's one of my most favorite activities. And I really love sharing what I learn about rocks. So I hope you'll join us on Sunday. I have so many things planned. I don't know if I can get to everything. But we will see you on Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you out there. And we appreciate you supporting and, all the likes, all the shares. We love it. Thank you so much. And everybody that you tell, we love that too. All right, my friends, y'all have a great evening, and we will see you in a few days. Okay, good night. Bye, friends.